Today we're on the South Climb Trail, South Loop, in the Mount Charleston Wilderness, and we're headed for Griffith Peak. This is the trail parking area. There's the Cathedral Rock Trail. And we're heading down the South Climb Trail. We're heading up to Griffith Peak, and what we're going to do is a top-down exploration of Sexton Ridge. We've explored Sexton Ridge from the Lovell Canyon, and we've headed up Sexton Ridge up to about the 9,000 foot point. Griffith Peak is actually at the summit of Sexton Ridge at the 11,060 feet. So there's about 2,000 feet between the summit of Griffith Peak and the highest point that we've reached on Sexton Ridge so far. Looks like we've got a little rain happening today. So we may not have real clear weather. But anyway, we're going to go up to Griffith Peak and just see what the upper Sexton Ridge looks like heading down toward Lovell Canyon. Here we go. It's sunrise, and we are at the third weekend in June. So I don't know if we're going to see any snow still lingering around on the trails today. However, you never know. In June, there often is snow still on the trails, but the weather has been, this last week, 110 to 114 degrees in Las Vegas Valley, and today will be 110 degrees. Right now, up here, it's around 70 degrees, and we could get some weather here. There's wind blowing. There are clouds in the sky. So who knows what it's going to look like. But it should be interesting. Love the look of the rising sun reflected on the trees around us. Just happens for a brief moment in the morning and the evening. Coming into view as we head up the South Climb Trail. And here is Cathedral Rock. And then up here, Charleston Peak has come into view. And then as we circle around the Charleston Loop, of which we're actually on it, on the south portion, there's Lee Peak. And around this way to Mummy Mountain. Now, I've seen snow up here at this time of year 2 years ago. It is very dry. There is no water in the main wash here, right below us, on the Water in the Desert page of Las Vegas Area Trails. You can see about this time of year where there was a little roaring stream going down this canyon. Anyway, it's been so dry. We're in a drought time, but guess what? Lots of beautiful flowers along the trail. It's like it's turned into a royal pathway here. Look at this. Only in the spring. So, pretty nice. in on the third weekend of June to be experiencing spring up at this level. And we are at about 7,800 feet elevation right now. Okay, let's continue on up. And by the way, you can see cliffs all around us. Oops, there you go. Kind of a bowl here. And looking up at this area, there is, on the left of this cliff that we're looking at, is one of the very first overlook. We'll be up there in a bit looking down. And it's shaping up to be a very, very beautiful day. There was wind that sounded like a freight train just a while ago. A little rain falling, but wow, look at it now. It has cleared up. That was only about 15 minutes ago. Okay, let's continue onward. Let's head on up to this first great overlook. Wow, the wildflower display continues. Lupine and Indian paintbrush. Oops, I just tripped on a rock. Gotta watch it when I'm looking at the flowers. Wow, look at this. It just doesn't quit. And then here's the cliff to the first great overlook. Here's that canyon that usually has water this time of year. Wow, look at this. Majestic cliffs all around. Continuing on up. Looking down on Charleston Village, we're above that cliff overlook now. And there's Mummy Mountain. Continuing on up the South Climb Trail. We've passed about 2.25 miles so far. Let's continue on. There are 3 awesome overlooks ahead, and we'll check them out. We're about 10,000 feet or so. You're looking at Griffith Peak, our first destination today. As we top Griffith Peak, we will take a look down Sexton Ridge on the far side of Griffith Peak. And what you're seeing here is, well, there is the saddle, what's called the saddle, right up in this area. It's the point where you've reached about 10,500 feet, and you can either turn right to go to Mount Charleston or left to ascend Griffith Peak, and we'll be ascending Griffith Peak today. Wildflowers still all around. What an incredibly beautiful day. And there is a patch of snow remaining, even though it's been 110 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley, 110 to 115 degrees for the past week. We lose about 5 degrees per 1,000 feet as you ascend. And so it's actually cooler up here, much cooler. When you're up on Griffith Peak and it's 115 degrees in Las Vegas, it's about 75 degrees up on Griffith Peak. So it's a great place to be in the summer. And then just to give a 360 here. We're definitely in the midst of a beautiful bristlecone pine forest. And pretty much at this elevation, we'll be seeing mostly bristlecone pine trees. So let's continue on up. We got another 1,000 feet and we'll be at the summit of Griffith Peak, looking down Sexton Ridge. Griffith Peak straight ahead, getting ready to ascend. If you look carefully, you can make out the trail. And just looking around us, there we're looking down on the Forest Service station area, down in Trout Canyon. Then over to Madre Mountain. And down to Pahrump Valley. And I believe this straight ahead below us is Trout Canyon. Not entirely sure, but it looks like a good candidate. So, onward, up to the summit of Griffith Peak. Closing in on the summit of Griffith Peak. Boy, that last 500 feet was very delightful. Quite an incline. And here we are at the summit. Next view will be looking down toward Sexton Ridge. And just to get a view, 360-degree view of where we are. There's Madre Mountain. And there's the north ridge of Trout Canyon. Lee Peak. Charleston Peak. And Charleston Peak is 11,919 feet. Lee Peak is around 11,300 feet, 230 I think it is. And Madre Mountain is 11,500 and about 30 feet. And by the way, there's Fletcher Peak at 10,300. Griffith Peak, 11,060 feet. And then we pan around and you can see the Pahrump Valley down in this direction. And on the other side of that would be Telescope Peak, except too many clouds. And there, I believe, is Trout Canyon. And I believe we're looking down Sexton Ridge at this point. So we'll take a closer look in a bit. And there you have it. Oh, La Madre Mountain, right in the center there. And oh, there's Potosi Mountain. And this valley down here is Lovell Canyon. Yeah, Lovell Canyon. And then looking over here, you can see a part of Red Rock Park. And I believe that's Bridge Mountain we're looking down at in the center. And what I said was La Madre Mountain really was not. La Madre Mountain would be right over here. So there you've got a view of the general area where we are from the summit of Griffith Peak. And here you can see down into Kyle Canyon and down to Charleston Village. And above Charleston Village, there is Coxcomb Ridge. So those are most of the landmarks from this location. Now, the next thing we're going to do is head down Sexton Ridge in this direction. Okay, as we begin down Sexton Ridge, it looks like there's quite the drop off here. So we'll have to just see what we're facing. We've never been here before, and there are no trails. Always looked like a cool adventure though. Head down the far side of Griffith Peak and locate the ridge on the north side of Lovell Canyon. Sexton Ridge. We have ascended Sexton Ridge from Lovell Canyon. We've ascended to the 9,000, maybe 9,500 foot point. It's about 1,500 feet below where we're standing now. And so let's see if we can descend from the top and how far down we can get. Of course, we got to turn around and head back up when we're done. So we may just go about 1,000 feet, see what things look like. Yeah, this isn't too much of a drop off actually here. So it's very doable. But what do things look like on the other side of that ridge up ahead? I know looking from the bottom that there was quite the cliff. So we'll see if there's a way around or if we're going to hit the edge of a cliff once we reach the edge of this ridge up ahead. And then if we can get past that, you know, we're looking at, you know, there you can see Sexton Ridge reaching out below. So, in fact, let's take a closer look. So we're going to head down this ridge. Hopefully there's not a drop off at the edge of this, but there may be. It looked like there was a cliff from below. But then if we can resume down below, I think we've got it made. Whoops, I think I'm losing my perspective here. Yeah, we've got it made. We can continue on down Sexton Ridge. Not that we're going to go all the way down today, because the the car is on the other side of Griffith Peak. So the way we came. Okay, here we go. Good news. It looks like past that last high point on the ridge. I didn't know if there'd be a cliff drop off, and it looks like I'm going to be able to continue along the ridge at least to this point up ahead where the ridge begins to disappear again, and there may be a cliff drop off on the other side of that, but at least I can get pretty far down this ridge. So let's go ahead and continue on down Sexton Ridge. By the way, there's Trout Canyon. And Pahrump. I'll have to come up here on a clearer day so that we can see if Telescope Peak is visible, and a whole lot of other landmarks. And then looking down this way, there's Potosi Mountain. And right in the center there, you can see Bridge Mountain in Red Rock Park. It's that bald mountain. And then looking over in this direction, La Madre Mountain. And then down below us, Lovell Canyon. And we've definitely been almost the whole length of that canyon, all the way down to the end there where we park the beast when we're heading up Sexton Ridge and heading up, Lovell Canyon Trail up to Sexton Ridge and then along the ridge. So this is a top-down view. Pretty cool. So let's continue on down this ridge here, at least to that next point where things appear to potentially drop off. And we'll see if there's a way beyond that. Here we go. Still descending Sexton Ridge, and it's leveled off a little bit. You can see Potosi Mountain in the distance. Then a really good view of Trout Canyon from this point, and then over to Pahrump. And then looking back up, Sexton Ridge, and you can see a high point there. It's probably 500 to 800 feet below Griffith Peak, so we got some ascent on the way back, some steep ascent. We have descended probably around 1,500 feet so far. So we'll continue along until we reach an upper barrier. Here we go. Curiously, there are no trails up here, no human trails at least. So nobody comes up here. But look what we found here. The trail of some animal, and I'm thinking we're looking at hoof marks. And I would suspect bighorn sheep. And this is the trail of a bighorn sheep. just appears for this brief moment and then disappears. I'm continuing on up to that next high point. We'll look over the edge and see what the world looks like from that high point. And then down here you can see Lovell Canyon. Definitely a lot of cliff action below me. And then, oh, let's take a good look. You're looking at Harris Mountain. So that's kind of a unique perspective. Probably nobody comes here and looks at it from this perspective, as is true of Griffith Peak. And there is Griffith Peak from this perspective on Sexton Ridge. So definitely very different and isolated up here. If you can only imagine what this forest would have looked like before the burn. Bristlecone pine trees, at least pine tree skeletons all around. Imagine this populated by a majestic bristlecone pine forest. We're at about 9,600 feet right now. We have made it to, I think, 9,100 feet, between 100 and 300 feet, coming up the other direction from the bottom of Sexton Ridge. So we're not going to be separated here from our full Sexton Ridge route by too many feet by the time we get to the edge of where we're headed here. Okay, here we go. Continuing along the Bighorn Sheep Trail, it just continues. And I'm going to stay on this little trail because these guys are smart. They know how to conserve their energy and to skirt a mountainous area without, with a minimum of ascent and descent. So thank you, Bighorn Sheep, for making this trail for me. And you can see, boy, it looks like a real human trail here, but definitely we're looking at Bighorn Sheep tracks. And we're heading to the high points up ahead, where the Bighorn Sheep were headed. For what reason, we do not know. Maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't. They probably saw me coming 2 miles off, and knowing their behavior from the past, like I said, they conserve energy. So it's not like they're running away. All they're doing is just slowly, nonchalantly walking behind some kind of barrier. And you can see a lot of, there's some fallen trees, and there are rocky outcrops around here, and they're nonchalantly just walking behind those barriers and looking at me, even though I cannot see them. Pretty cool ability to navigate and to make yourself disappear in nature. You learn a lot from animals. Okay, let's continue on. Okay, we're at a turnaround point for today. We've got a mountain to climb again. climbing Griffith Peak twice today. But here we are on Sexton Ridge. We've got a good overlook now. And you can see how the ridge continues. I think there is a cliff drop off that needs to be circumvented up ahead here, just on the other side of this area. And you can see Sexton Ridge continuing on down. And the place where we made it from the bottom of Sexton Ridge, from Lovell Canyon, right down in this area. You see a rock and sitting there, and where there was there's a level spot, and then coming in this direction it dives down a bit. At that point I turned around. That was about 9,100 feet. We are at around 9,600 feet right now. So yeah, we're looking at about 400 feet of descent in order to complete all of Sexton Ridge. And we've just got this, probably about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile. So we've pretty much hit the entire Sexton Ridge. We'll return here on a day where there's a little more time and my conditioning is a little better than it is today. I'm still recovering from a couple of surgeries in the last 6 weeks. But yeah, there you've got Sexton Ridge from above, and it looks very doable at this point, unless there's some cliff action right ahead. Things start breaking up, as you can see, not too far ahead of us. And looking from the bottom, if you look at the Sexton Ridge from Lovell Canyon, you'll notice that there is a cliff drop-off, and it's just a matter of getting around that. So there's a cliff between where I am now and where I made it to on the way up. There you can see on the out the mouth of Lovell Canyon, you can see Potosi Mountain, and then you're looking down in this direction into the Rainbow Mountains, Red Rock Park area. And then over here, just to the left of this tree in the foreground, is La Madre Mountain. And you can even see, if you look closely, the Devil's Slide up there near the summit. And all of these places have pages on LasVegasAreaTrails.com, so you can see videos for where I summited Potosi Mountain, La Madre Mountain, and down in Red Rock I have stood just above Bridge Mountain, which is that bald mountain right in the center. And then swinging around in this direction, you can see evidence of the old road that was built during the Depression era, 30s, I think. It was a road that was built from Trout Canyon. It was supposed to go down into Lovell Canyon, and they never finished it. Evidently, President Roosevelt came and visited this area and asked where this road was going, and the builders said they do not know, and so he told them to stop building it. So I guess everyone has issues when they're constructing if they don't think it through. Okay, there's Harris Mountain. And then you can see the saddle that descends and then ascends up to Griffith Peak up there, which we've got to reascend here today, and then head down back to the South Climb Trailhead. But anyway, yeah, here we are on Upper Sexton Ridge, and of course there you have Pahrump in the haze. I hope these come through better on the video than they're looking on the screen of my phone at this moment. And there's Trout Canyon. So there you have it. Upper Sexton Ridge, and we have just about completed all of Sexton Ridge. We'll return and complete Sexton Ridge. So that should do it for today.